We view Saints Row as a game within the open world genre, and we feel very strongly we own the space and there's no other games like it, and I think that was solidified in Saints Row 2 and is going to surpass players' expectations in Saints Row the Third. The game starts off where the Saints are on top of their game. They're pretty much the kings of Stillwater. They have all the money and power and guns that they could ever ask for, and they're digging it. They're liking it. And, they go, and old habits die hard, and they cannot stop robbing banks. And a new one comes up in Stillwater, and they say, hey, let's go rob that. And unbeknownst to them, it's actually owned by the Syndicate. The Syndicate is their main antagonist in the game. They don't know that yet. The bank robbery goes awry and they get arrested. The Syndicate pay off the cops. They kidnap the Saints, say, we've been watching you. Why don't you come join us? And the Saints, in true Saints fashion, say, no, thank you. We want to do it on our own. And that creates fiction between the two groups. You're having this discussion in a private Lear jet that the Syndicate own. You bust out of that jet, you land in Steelport, which is where it's the main city for Saints Row the Third. And so you're pretty much a fish out of water, and you need to bring the Saints in, figure out who the Syndicate is, and take over Steelport for your own. Saints Row 2, you basically had one narrative for each gang. And what we wanted to do was improve on that narrative, and it's like, make sure, let's have one main narrative, one source of conflict, and that's the Saints going through and fighting the Syndicate. So I think that makes it better for players from a narrative point of view, and overall, we actually worked more closely with THQ this time. Danny Bilson, EVP, and his writing partner, Paul DeMeo, came in and help us refine and improve our script, and I think the end result is something that's better, not only from a player point of view, but a fiction and narrative point of view. We have activities, and activities are side missions, side quests, and you can choose to engage in them if you want or not. Basically, they're instanced a little bit different this time around. That means if you complete, let's say, an activity called Tank Mayhem, you do it on the easiest level. By completing that, you'll see other instances pop up in the map with higher level of difficulty. If you want, you can play them. You don't have to. Basically, they serve as side diversions for players that want to break from either the main narrative critical path, or they want to break or something different from just messing about in the world on their own, which is in and of itself a huge mechanic in these open world games, and certainly in Saints Row the Third. Part of the fiction is when you start the game, the Saints are at the top of their game, so you're getting weapons like an airstrike, and within an hour of playing the game, we have a certain melee weapon that is sculpted after a phallus that you get early on. It's like our philosophy has been, why give the player a bat when you can give them this giant sex toy to hit people over? When it comes to vehicles, retuned all the driving mechanics, retuned the physics there. It's a key core mechanic. Players are really going to like this tune-up that we've done. And we also have flying vehicles, and the one we showed off today was the VTOLs, the vertical takeoff and landing. It's kind of crazy that you have this in the small island, but it doesn't matter. It's Saints Row, and it's a hell of a lot of fun to fly around and wreak havoc with. We don't have any competitive multiplayer modes in Saints Row the Third. We're doing co-op. We're doing the same model as Saints Row 2. I think it was a very well-received model, seamless, drop in, drop out, play through the entire critical path and activities and whatnot, just mess around. But when it comes to competitive multiplayer, we're not doing it this time around. We wanted the team to focus on what we believe is the most important thing. It's in the single-player experience or co-op player experience with a buddy. Saints Row the Third is coming to the PC, PS3, and 360 on November 15th, 2011.